take the responsibility and say, I'm the fuck up.
There's a lot of people that are going to get this in their inbox, BT. Let me tell you straight. Hello and welcome back to the Lucy Davis channel. I'm so freaking excited to be joined by two of my favorite people around the world, BT and his gorgeous partner, Carla. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me from all the way in sunny Florida. How are you both?
Hey, we're doing
We're
great.
doing great. Thanks, Lucy.
Yeah, just loving it out here, and taking it all in.
In your stride, we're
Is.
taking it in our stride right now. Let's talk about it though, like properly. How freaking crazy are these energies?
I tell you, the energies are just like bombarding people. I mean, tremendously all over, not just here, but around the United States and around the world right now. We've had a lot of solar flares happening. There's a lot of things that are transferring energy, not just from the cosmos, but from person to person. And I think that's one of the biggest things that most people are not paying attention to, is who they're hanging around.
I love that.
And what they're actually accomplishing while they are with groups of people. I think that's a hard thing that most people just kind of let go. But again, I mean, Carla and I have been, doing our stuff, meeting with people and things of that nature. And I mean, what do you think, Carla? What type of energies are you feeling?
Well, I think their energies for enlightenment, for waking up and waking the consciousness up. We feel a lot of heavy duty energies coming through here at night.
Yep.
And it will wake us up a lot of times at night with the energies that are coming through. And I think that these energies, a lot of them seem to be downloads. Yeah. And they come in frequency intervals. So enough to download you with one thing, and then there's a space or a waiting, and then another download. Time for you to integrate that message.
Absolutely. Yes. I love that you've gone there. First and foremost, it's a very, very important message. Clean your act up. Clean your act up. You're in the Hall of Mirrors right now. Look at who you're hanging around. Look at what you are projecting. Look at what you are feeling. Look at what you are taking on from social media, from the television, from the people that you hang around, from your family, literally from every interaction that we're having right now. It's so important for us to clean our act up. Well, not even clean our act up, but observe and actually recognize what it is that we're doing, and recognize how we feel before, during, and after. Like, I know I speak to people that I love and the people that I choose to do shows with, and beforehand I'm excited, during I'm like, yes, and then afterwards I'm like, fuck, we did a good job. Like, I know they're the kind of radiators that I want to be around, but there are people that go, oh my God, I'm really nervous about seeing this person, and then in their company they're wired, they're on tenterhooks, and then afterwards they're like, oh my God, I feel so drained. Observe it, recognize it. This is your choice. You are choosing this right now.
Yeah, I think when you talk about that choice, okay, and it's really important that you touch base on that, Lucy. So individual choice right now is at a apex. You're either going to make the right decision for the right energies, or you're going to cause chaos within your life, and it's going to destroy you. And because again, we're moving into this high frequency of consciousness. There's no time for, just laying in low energy. There's not. I mean, we're at a time where low energy is moving out of the pyramid, so to speak. Yeah. And so we're moving into a not just the global, but the cosmic energies that are more energetic in a spiritual form than in the physical form. And so those people who are having difficulty right now with dealing with energies, in my personal working with people here locally and around the states and overseas, it's like they're not taking the responsibility to actually, take time for meditation, take time for looking inner towards yourself, finding where the spiritual energy lives within our heart, where God is created within us. They're not taking that time. They're spending way too much time on different platforms. Okay. And even myself, I mean, I got up to 100,000 people on TikTok and they booted me off, so.
Wow, good for you. That's a platform I haven't even gone near yet. So go BT.
Yeah. but again, they kicked me off, so we went off on a couple other new names, and now I'm being shadow banned really bad. I mean, I've been at like the same amount of people for the last month and a half, and it's like, okay, fine, that's what you want to do. But it's energy. The shadow energy, and the people who are utilizing shadow energy, they recognize your light, our light, everybody else's light who's in this movement of consciousness, and so they're bound and determined to prevent our light from shining. And again, that social media is a huge outlet for getting people information. So it's funny, but at the same time, I'm so used to being booted off things. It's just
you're always on the naughty step.
It's another check mark, from like Instagram and FB and all the other ones,
Yeah,
so
check. Is there any platform you've not been booted off yet?
Yeah.
Are you on the New Truth channel that's over there?
Yeah, we're on the New Truth channel,
awesome.
but
they're not set up for a lot of video and that's
and this is why a lot of these platforms I avoid, because for me, I'm better doing videos. Like it's just a better form of communication for me. It's less time consuming, and I love interacting with people, whether that be live or on a video like this with you guys. Just want to come back to the point that Carla actually just raised about sleep. I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me at the moment saying, oh my God, I can't sleep, or oh my gosh, I'm waking up so many times in the night. And I loved what you said, Carla, and it really does move on from what BT's just been saying about, we must become conscious, we must be observing, even down to the platforms that we're using. Like I've been quite repelled from social media for many different reasons recently, and honor that. If that's where you're at, honor it. Like look into it, just feel what feels okay with you. Like a lot of people say, oh, Facebook, that's the devil. Okay, fine, stay away from it. But that doesn't mean that other people that can handle that platform shouldn't go on there right now. It's all about our own choices and where we are at. And again, Carla, just want to come back to what you were talking about with the sleep, and I'd love your perspective as well on this, BT. I feel that you are absolutely bang on at the moment. People are getting their downloads through sleep. They really are getting downloads. But there's also mass activations coming in from the sun, isn't it? So it doesn't matter whether we're awake or we're asleep, we're getting these profound downloads, activations, insights, and our physical body. This is why we are needing to rest, and why we're needing to take time out, why we're needing to clean our act up, is because otherwise we'd be like, as if we were being electrocuted constantly.
Yes.
So I just like you both to kind of share where you're at with the whole sleep and the activations from the sun. And obviously you mentioned the solar flares and stuff, BT. It would be good to just raise the consciousness on that subject slightly.
Okay, can I say one thing on that? This is my belief, is that basically we're getting these downloads so that when the time comes for the time shift, the activation into no time versus third dimension, that the people will be prepared to make that shift. Okay, so these downloads are to get you ready, and also to get you ready to accept the new technology that's going to be coming out. Because basically our bodies are not prepared for this new energy, and we have to get to a point where we can accept it and use it. And the majority of people are not there right now. So I think that's what's going on with these downloads, especially at night.
And do you feel this is why people are needing, normal people like myself that are really quite high energy during the day, all of a sudden at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're like, right, I got to go for a lie down, I've got to go and meditate, or I've got to take some time out. Do you feel that that's a direct reflection of that?
Well, I do. I feel that when you're sleeping, then those downloads can get in and activate. A lot of times the conscious mind, the ego, will prevent that when you're doing your normal daily routine. And so in order for people to get those, I think that the sleep is the best time.
And within that sleep, prior to you actually going to sleep, you should be programming yourself. You should be taking that opportunity to sit back, in peace and quiet, hopefully, and be able to program what you're, willing to receive for your highest good.
Love that.
So that way you can move forward, and at the same time put the cloak of protection around your home. This is one of the things that Carla and we were talking about it here. Not matter of fact, this week, I think, getting into the week, we were talking about, are you feeling lethargic? Are you feeling just kind of like your energy has just like been zapped? And we've been feeling that. And so what we did is we just said, I'm always putting a cloak of invisibility and protection around us while we're out and about in our automobile, traveling around and things of this nature. But I said, well, you know what, let's go ahead and put a cloak of invisibility and protection around our home from all the negative energies, because again, we have both directions of frequencies, negative as well as positive, moving through this universe right now. And they're going to those individuals who are on a higher path, because again, they've elevated themselves much earlier. And so, not all of us are on the same higher energy right now. We will be eventually, once everybody goes ahead and is willing to accept. So there's no reason why they can't. But when you put that invisibility around your home and the cloak of protection, we noticed a huge change within just one day.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, we could feel that, the downloads that we were receiving were of a true high consciousness versus a download that is more chaotic. And so that's something that, everybody out there got to pay attention to, and again, it's a simple area. We just, great Father, great Mother, great Spirit. We put the cloak of protection, invisibility around our home while we sleep, while we're, away through our day. And you can add to it, the way you see fit. But again, it's taking that opportunity to recognize that spirit is here energetically to protect you while we're going through this transition. And most of us tend to know it's there, but we don't use it. You use it or give gratitude for it.
Absolutely. And it's setting that intention, isn't it? It's setting that intention of the purity. I'm not taking on anybody else's shit right now. I'm not taking on the shit of the darkness. We know as light ones that we are shining much brighter than ever before. And what that means is that they are finding us, we're shining the light on them even more. So of course they need to attack, they need to fight for their position in society in this three-dimensional world. Now you might have noticed I wasn't prepared for this, so I just grabbed a bit of card and I've just been scribbling bits and pieces all over it. I'm like, because I don't want to forget. I think it's very important that we loop this back to what you were talking about, distractions, BT, because this is very, very important. Now, I know for myself where I live, because of things that have been happening to me since the start of this year, and I know, BT, I've spoken to you about a couple of things that have happened since the start of this year, I am meticulous with protection, with making sure that everything is okay, not only around my home, but around myself and my loved ones, and, anybody that's in my company, because obviously, we are having an energy exchange. We do live fragments of ourselves with those people. So I just make sure that everybody is okay. Interestingly enough, when I left to come here a few days ago, the land around where I live caught fire.
Wow.
So I think that's a really good example of the fact that we become complacent. And I didn't set any protection for when I left because I wasn't there. I'm like, nope, I'm good. We need to really clean up our act. Going back to what I said at the beginning, we need to recognize when we're being distracted. Are you being distracted by scrolling on your phone? Are you being distracted by having to watch the latest YouTube video? A bit hypocritical because you're watching this video on YouTube right now. Are you being distracted by having to go and buy a new car or turning up to that thing that perhaps you didn't want to go to? Like, now is the time for us to recognize this, because when we're distracted, we're very easy to attack. Do you agree?
True.
I agree. And the distraction, most people look at distraction as just one-sided, okay? When you're studying, it's the opposite of distraction. Okay. So when you're studying, whatever, you're studying, like we're teaching, the state national over here in the United States and implementing it here across the country as well as other people. But when you're distracted with those energies, you can't focus on the true abilities that you're meant to utilize. And so these people that, like, here locally, we've been here for 2 years now, right?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
It's gone so quick.
Yeah, it's gone fast. And we never had,
I know.
we never had any issues whatsoever with anybody. Okay. And then when I couldn't get some of my paperwork recorded here at the clerk's office, I had to file suit so I could go ahead and put them in a court of record then, and it's the same process, okay? But once we filed suit, all of a sudden now we've been harassed by the sheriffs and all these other individuals, because again, and they're not real happy with it. And so we've been pulled over a couple of times already, and they've
For
been
the same thing.
for the same thing, trying to, basically just, give us a hard time. And both times we were let go without any, issues. But at the same time, it's a waste of our time on our spiritual journey, because again, we only have so much time here. Okay. So, when you talk about the importance, all you people out there, you need to really, like Lucy says, get your act, straighten up your shed, because again, you only have so much time. You don't know when that time is going to end or when that time is going to continue. So you best be, putting out your, best foot forward, being compassionate, being, in tune with your frequency first. So then that way you can work your tune of your frequency with others. And so you're not coming in like, with your frequencies. Because again, if we're all working together, we should be melting together and coming together, within a really tight form, instead of, trying to figure out how we're going to connect. And I think that's something that most of us, tend to forget. And even myself, sometimes I get, caught up in life, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got to step back and, look at it from this perspective, and not be so angry at the government, but at the same time, it isn't that the government is the problem. It's the people who are protecting the government, because they're not willing to accept the changes that are coming. Okay. And so like here, the county commissioners, our sheriffs, it's not a constitutional sheriff's office, it's a department. And so we have all these things happening, not just here locally, but around in every state. Just like you guys over there, I'm sure you're recognizing the frequencies bouncing and the chaos within the community coming in and moving out as those frequencies are bouncing. And so, sacrednicity, taking time out to go ahead and do prayer on ley lines, doing these type of spiritual work around your communities. What are you guys doing in your communities? We can talk, Lucy can talk about the great stuff she's doing. We can talk about the great stuff we're doing. And what are you doing? That's the key issue. Because again, it takes all of us to fix this. Okay. It's not just one or two or a dozen or, certain individuals. All of us have to connect and unite together to be able to, overcome that.
Bang on.
So,
Squad goals, isn't it? It's about bringing the team back together. There is no I in team. We've got to come back together. We've got to unite. We've got to stand up. We've got to recognize that some of us are good speakers. Some of us are good doers. Some of us are good whatever it is that we need. We've got amazing people, and it's about coming together and trusting. I think that that's very important element of this right now, is that there are so many that are, because we're in the Hall of Mirrors and our stuff's coming up for healing, there's many people that are questioning, well, I can't trust you, and you're a shill, and you're this and you're that. I mean, I've never heard the word shill until the last 18 months, and now I hear it like every freaking day of my life, at least 1,000 times a day. And what's the other one? Controlled opposition. Like these words are just banded around like hotcakes right now. And actually, not everybody is of the light. That is their role this lifetime. And that's okay. We need them to do their bit. Thank God it's not us. That's all I can say. We need to find our little lights. That's what they keep showing me, lights on the grid. We need to find our lights on the grid, and we need to come together, and we need to unite and bring that team together, because unless we do that, we can't fight these motherfuckers, for want of better words.
Right.
Like, let's call it what it is. We can't stand up to them. We can't change the systems. Like, I'm tired of fighting the old systems. I'm just creating the new now. I can't even be bothered to talk about the old stuff. I just want to create the new, move forwards, forget about the old, because it doesn't exist in my world. And sometimes people say that that's delusion, and I'm like, okay, if that's delusion to you, then I'll see if it's going to be delusion for me. But do you know what? I would rather be creating than sitting back here being angry in a space where every single time there is a roadblock. I'd rather just create. I'd rather just, like you said, manifest, bring in. And, I loved what you said earlier about, getting to the end of the day and really clearing your mind and setting the tone for who you want to be. Like, that's what I do every second of every day. Is this going to get me closer to my end goal? If it's not, don't freaking do it.
Right.
Whether that's
You know,
go for a swim or, sorry, Carla, go for a swim or eat that cake. Like, if it's not getting me closer to the thing, like, nip it in the bud now. Sorry, Carla, off you go.
no, I like what you said about just moving forward, because we have people around here that are so involved in getting certain people elected, and their, things aren't going the way they want them to go. And I just tell them, just relax. It's all gonna, shake out. Don't worry about it. Things are shifting. We're in a transition. Just look and try to focus on the reality that you want. What is it that you want? What do you see? And that's what you focus on, and stop, wallowing around in all the mire and the muck that people are doing now, because it's what they've always done in the old system. That's the old system. And we're moving into the new system. And until they get out of that old system, they can't come up in their consciousness. They're stuck.
And what is the benefit? What is the benefit to the masses being stuck back there? We've been there for our whole lifetimes. Minus a few people, a few people have been conscious since the day they were born. I'm not one of those people. I was very awake as a child, and then I sent myself to sleep, and I've come back online in 2013. I never professed to be one of these people that call themselves a guru, that they've been awake their whole life. I don't profess to be one of those people. However, I know, BT, he's been awake his whole life. He's, you're very, very lucky in that sense. So this is why we need your infinite wisdom, but there's very few of you on the planet right now.
There's a lot more coming out. There really is. I mean, I've been meeting with people, just what spirit brings to us. And I tell you, we've surrounded ourselves right now, I think, with a very positive team of wonderful spiritual workers, as well as, coming into this physical plane and doing the hard work, because it's a lot harder the physical plane work than the spiritual work. I just tell you. Because again, the spirit can do anything and everything if you honestly have the faith and belief within, yourself and within that energy. The physical plane doesn't give you that belief, because Carla said earlier, the ego comes in, you got an issue here, an issue there. And so you're having difficulty. But again, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you willing to let go? Okay. Because again, the ego is what's keeping these people who you really should be letting go around you. And it isn't that you're, turning your back on them, because I've heard that. Well, I don't want to turn my back on so-and-so, I've known them forever. But, every time I get with that person, for instance, there's a conflict, because I'm at a higher elevation than these individuals. And so by the time we're done communicating, and I always thought we had a great relationship, I leave feeling upset, frustrated, all these areas. And these are the things that I'm hearing with people on a daily basis. So again, move your energy, stay on your path, and be grateful for those who were there and who you've left behind. It's not to say that they're not going to eventually catch up.
Aha. Very good point.
That's the key. But at the same time, that's their decision to catch up. We can't put people up.
I'd like to ask a question, and both of your perspectives would be amazing. So let's say there's somebody watching this and they're like, I've had to let my partner go because they just weren't getting it, and they've been horrible to me, and I've just had to let them go. How on earth can I be grateful to that? Like, what would you say to somebody who's sat in a position whereby they don't see the gold in it at the moment? How would we find the gratitude?
Well, obviously, if there was that much friction in the relationship, they had to be unhappy. And now that that relationship is over, they can then, I would think, feel more free to go in the direction that they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And start, going within and working on themselves, because that partner was probably just a large distraction.
Yes.
And keeping them from their path.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Carla, actually. Let's just go a little bit further, because we know what humans are like and human behavior is like. As soon as somebody leaves, a month down the line, but I miss them. But there's all of that stuff coming, and then they get the urge to message them or check in or like, for me, because I know these cycles, because I observe human behavior and I work in human behavior, of course, like, I know what's happening and I know the cycles. But to somebody that doesn't, like, what advice would you give to them?
Well, I think just basically, when you let someone go, you need to what I call cut the cords of that person from your body, because there's still attachments. And until you cut the cords and then fill that area with light, don't leave it open, don't leave it empty, but fill it with light, then you can go back to being whole yourself. But as long as you've got those cords and attachments, I believe you will feel that pull to try to get back with that energy, even though it was not good for you. It wasn't for your highest good. And so I think that would be the first thing I would do was with intention, go in and separate, do that separation right away.
And with your partners too, okay, when you're splitting up within those energies, okay, the sexual component is very, very strong within those relationships. And so a lot of times people will split up and then they get back together with the same person who's caused them so much chaos and pain and guilt and fear and shame,
expect it to be
even
different.
abuse. Yeah. And
think they're going to be different.
and you know, they're hoping, again, hope, okay, you know, kind of like assume, you know, make an ass out of you or me. But, you know, within that relationship, that individual needs to seriously, you know, look at themselves and say, why do I continue to be a part of this energy of negativity from my ex-partner or the person I'm with presently? And, you know, after they've treated me like shit, and I want to go back and be lovey and dovey with them. You know, that doesn't make any sense. Again, you're not giving yourself the respect that spirit has for us as spiritual beings. And I think that's something that most people tend to forget, you know, that if you can't respect yourself in a manner of saying, you know what, I ain't going to put up with this shit. Okay. Then, you know, you're going to get with the shit that you want, because again,
I love it.
You're not respecting yourself.
Love
So
it.
don't blame your friends. Don't blame your partner. Okay. Because you already know that's a done deal. You know, blame yourself. Take the responsibility and say, I'm the fuck up. You know, this is why it continues. And again, there's a lot of people that we know and we, you know, we consult that are going through this process that I'm saying right now.
I know. I've just had loads of people pop in my head, and
Yeah.
I'm like, Lucy, stop it.
Yeah. And
There's
so,
a
you know,
lot of people that are going to get this in their inbox, BT. Let me tell you straight. Hey, babe, check this out. Hey, babe, just give this a watch.
Yeah. You know, and it's hard.
It is. So what's your perspective? Because when both of you were just talking then, and I know you guys are such a good example because you've got such an amazing relationship. I truly trust that if anything is being blocked or if any relationship breaks down, whether it's a friendship, you know, a family separation or an intimate relationship, as much as it pains when I don't get my own way, because I'm human and I want to get my own way 24/7, 365 days a year. I don't, but that's what I would like to do in an ideal world. But I trust when I don't get my own way that I'm being guided away from something. I feel like I'm being protected. Now, I have to stop and question that sometimes and be like, is this my ego trying to keep me safe? Is this my old commitment issues reset? Like, I have to go through a whole process to get to that. But 99% of the time I come back to, you are being protected, you are being guided away for whatever reason, and this will be for your greatest good. Now, we can fight that and we can go along with it and we can get stung and then we can learn the lesson. But it's this, I'm really noticing at the moment, a lot of people are going back to their exes. So however we ended up on this conversation right now, it's divinely timed and divinely orchestrated, because I'm speaking to a lot of people right now that are like, yeah, but it's easy, isn't it? And I'm like, how on earth is years of hassle and aggro easy when you've made the break and now you're going to have to go through that again? Because people don't change when they're in the same energy. I mean, unless they've gone through something pretty significant, because I am a totally different person to who I used to be, but I know I could never be with any of my exes. Like, I know that I love them, not all of them, but some of them I love with all of my heart, but I could never go back there because, you know, the dynamic would go back to the way it used to be. And I know that, even though I've done the work, they haven't done the work. So of course we'd go back there.
Well, you look at it from this perspective of, I went through the experience, but I'll never forget. Okay. And that's the real issue, is because again, even if you come back and that relationship was shitty and you come back to it again and you're hoping that, you know, things are going to be different, and all of a sudden the same things are happening again, the same scenarios, same, you know, things that pop up, things of this nature, you know, you really have to take a step back and say, what am I doing? Why is this reoccurring? Why am I letting this energy back in? Okay. Normally there's 3 areas. You have action. Okay. You have, you know, what type of action have I done to recreate this freaking mess that I hated, you know, a year ago or 6 months ago or yesterday. Okay. Then you have to look at the facts. You see, and this is what people don't want to deal with, is the facts. Okay. Well, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this. They treated me like shit. They did this and that. And then you're like going, well, you know, yeah, that's all true. But, you know, I really think they're going to love me. You know, they're going to change,
and it
and poor
feels nice,
pity,
and I get
and, you know,
attention
all
and
this
good sex.
bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. And the last part is the intent. So you have the actual, you know, and the fact, and then with the intent, what intent do they have to even come back into your life?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
asking that question?
Most
You know,
people
are you?
not, probably. It's a bloody
No,
good
because
question.
yeah, because again, they're in it, you know, a lot of times, you know, I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is in the 3D, 4D. They're in it for the sex.
Yeah,
They're in
yeah,
it
we
for
want a
all
good
these other
fuck,
areas.
right? We want
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
They
oh,
just
it's no
want to have
strings
some
attached. It's an
fun.
ex. We won't go back there. You know, they've hurt
Yeah,
me before, or I hurt them before. It's just sex, and it's
yeah.
never just sex,
No,
is
it's
it?
not.
What I
No,
love,
it's
what I love, BT, sorry to cut you off there. What I love is that I did a video with a beautiful lady, a shaman actually, earlier today, called Abby Wynn, and we ended up talking about forgiving and forgetting, and you've just brought it all back up again. We don't forget ever. You know, we're not supposed to forget. This is the myth. This is why people go back to their exes, because, oh, we forgive and forget. No, forgive, but remember, take the wisdom forwards with you. Take the wisdom and run along with it and embody it in your new situations.
yeah.
Why do
Yeah.
we need to go back to exes when there are nearly 8 billion people to choose from on the planet?
Yeah. And again, I've had friends. I had one friend, his name was Tom, and he's passed now. So I can go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. So you can, I was just about to say, nicely thrown under the
I
bus.
think this is the first time I've publicly, you know, ever mentioned this, but I'll mention it, you know. But him and his wife, I kid you not, they got married and divorced like 8+ times. Okay. I'm serious. I mean, you know, both of them were very well off prior to their marriage, and they got married very early, and it was like one day I'd be in the office, and Tom would come in and he'd say, well, you got to go see the lawyer today. And I'm like, well, why? He goes, well, I'm getting divorced. I'm like, shit, you just got divorced and you got remarried. What are you guys doing? And this went on all the way through their whole relationship until one of them died. I kid you not. And I was thinking, man, this guy, he signed a freaking contract of hell, you know. I mean, or vice versa. She signed the contract of hell, you know. I mean, you know, I knew both, and you know, I think both of them were part of the problem. They should never been together, but they were so stubborn that they had to prove it to themselves that I'm gonna make this work. You know, well, sometimes this fucking doesn't work. You know, I'm just saying, you know, but
Clearly missed the memo. At number 3,
basically,
surely you'd be like, no more, let's just be together. And
yeah,
if we separate, we separate. Like, let's
yeah,
just, oh my gosh.
yeah. But and he was a little short Irishman, and I tell you, he was so funny. He'd come into the office and he'd comment what happened, and I'd look at him, you know, because after they got remarried, I'd be like, you know, after the 3rd time, I thought there was, like you said, there wasn't going to be any more. But you know, it got to the 4th, and I was like, what? The 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and I was like, Tom, why are you doing this? And he's like, well, you know, I just got to prove a point. And I'm like, you know, that doesn't make any sense, you know, cause all this chaos, shadow energy, and you're just making a point, you know.
You guys should have had an office bet.
Yeah, well,
How long they would stay and when they divorce, the
yeah,
dates, and make a bunch of money.
yeah. Well, we actually did, to be honest.
Yeah.
We did have an
Oh,
office.
you did have an office bet. I thought
Yeah,
so.
and I did start the bet. Okay, I did
Okay,
start the
okay.
bet. You know, but one of our gals did. It was funny.
That's one heck of a story, right? Like, that is one heck of a story. I'm like, if there's anybody out there watching and you've got married and divorced to the same person 8 times, please comment. I'm going to do a video with you directly. I'm going to be like, please speak to me, because I want to do the human behavior on this stuff. This is amazing.
Yeah, it was a trip, but I mean, even his wife, I mean, Norma, she was a sweet gal too. And I mean, it was hilarious, and they didn't or anything like that. I mean, it was just relationship stuff that none of them could come together on, and they were just too damn stubborn and ego that they just didn't want to deal with it. So they'd hate each other, then they'd divorce, and then they do, like you were saying earlier, oh, poor me, I can't live without Tom, and Tom's like, oh, I can't live without her, and
we have good sex, so why not? Makeup sex is great.
I think that's it. I really think it's it, because the younger gals that we know, say in their mid to late 30s, early 40s, they just say they're lonely. They're lonely, and they're looking for somebody to come in and complete them. Well, they aren't going to find that person that'll ever complete them. That isn't going to happen. But I think you've hit the nail on the head, that it's sexual, and that's what it is. It's about the sexual relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's nothing wrong with sex, okay?
No,
but,
definitely not.
I've we'll all raise our hand on that one, But those of you who know me, I'll leave it at that, okay? But anyhow, it always boils back down. I mean, we have people that say some things to us dealing with relationships and the sexual stuff, like, just we're Carla and I look at each other and we're like, did we really just hear that? Are we really, hearing this kind of comments? I mean, if I'm going to communicate about Carla in a negative connotation dealing with sexuality, I shouldn't even be talking to Carla. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I mean, that's not right.
Right.
I mean, I would never say to Carla, well, Carla, you're just dead in bed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but you got people saying shit like this to their partner.
People and to other people.
And then they're telling people, all these other crazy things
about relationships, about how bad they are and the weird stuff that went on. And it's like, really, you talk about that to other people?
It's just ridiculous. So again, who you're surrounding yourself with, what's your intent? Is your intent to move into the higher consciousness? Is your intent to actually move away from what's holding you back? Okay. And a lot of times it's the simplicity of stuff. I mean, it's just like me. I've had issues my whole life with weight. I go up in weight, I lose weight, I go up in weight and lose weight. I've been my whole life. And that's always something that I'm always trying to keep myself in check. Okay. And it isn't the fact that I, eat all the wrong food. Sometimes I do. Okay. But at the same time, I'm active. I take good care of myself, supplements, things of this nature, and I got somebody overseeing a lot of that, making sure I'm in good health, and so it's very important. But again, the issues that we have to look at them seriously as we're moving into this new frequency. Because as we reprogram ourselves, I want to reprogram myself where I'm not fat, where I don't have that issue of, holding on to body weight, that I can eat anything and everything, my chocolates, all of my good stuff, you know what I'm saying? And not have the issues of gaining weight. And I think we'll come to that eventually as we move into this higher consciousness and we look back and our food supplies change. And I think that's a big supply.
Yeah, our food supplies changed massively. I was running along the beach in Bournemouth just last week, actually. So I'll share this with you because it's pertinent to the conversation, and let me know how it feels with you intuitively. So I was running along the beach and I was asking certain questions, and I just got this message come through that they're pumping estrogen into everything now, even into our fruits and vegetables. And I was like, seriously, are you sure about this? But actually it resonates. It resonates in, there's a lot of women having hormone issues right now. There's a lot of men that have got more prominent boobs and their little pregnant bellies than I've ever seen, so it actually makes a lot of sense. And we know that there's this big push towards like the fake meat kind of stuff, which we know is loaded with all sorts of hormones and that kind of stuff. But the meat eaters are saying that's why I'm eating meat. No, they're doing it to the real cows and pigs and all the rest of it as well. But I actually feel now they're pumping it into the soil so that we're getting it in our fruits and vegetables because of the sex, the fact that people do want to reproduce and things like that. And I actually feel that this is helping that be slowed down. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, even here, I mean, we walk around and you know, there's a difference between, you know, men and boys and soy boys that think they're men. And because again, it's their foods, it's their, you know, upbringing, it's who they surround themselves with, you know, all these energies, but they don't really provide the energy of a man, which is required within the energy of a woman. Okay, because again, there's only two genders, like it or not. Okay.
Yes.
And again, we have to, you know, maintain our integrity as men that are strong, that are here to protect, here to serve humanity. Okay, not serve ourselves, but here to serve humanity,
Yeah.
as well as provide whatever necessities that we have to do, you know, in our daily lives. And then at the same time, women have their areas that are natural to them.
Caring,
Okay.
nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's not like I'm saying, you know, it's only on one side. But again, we have to take all that into consideration of where society has been, where we have gone through, where we're at today, and then what changes we're making today for our future. So then that way we're not having the same issues reappear, just like bad governments reappear after so many years.
Yeah.
You know, we have to look at it from ourselves, from that individual standpoint, and take that responsibility.
So BT, you brought up the government, and actually, I would like your opinion on something, because I am at a place now, and this is just personal, this is a personal projection here. I'm at a place now where anybody that's talking about creating a government, I think, oh, get stuff, that's an old system. Why do we need governments going forward? Like, that's where I'm at with it. I'm questioning everything. Like, if you're talking to me about being a government, you want to stay in three-dimensional land, you don't see that there is anything else bigger or better or another option to this. What's your view? And Carla, I'd love your view on this as well.
You want to go first?
I think
Yes.
well, I see us doing a major transformation, then going back to a republic or a constitutional republic. Originally, the government was supposed to do 18 or 19 things. One of them was, you know, to protect. Yeah. And now we're up to 6,000 agencies, and most of them are unelected. And that's here in the United States. Yeah. Controlling everything, all your movements, taxes, everything. That's what they were put in place for. Mm-hmm. I see us going back to where we should be, each individual state taking care of its own business. Yeah. And then the federal government, if there still is one, which I'm assuming there will be, for protection, you know, the military, those sorts of things, unless we transcend into such a high vibration that none of that is necessary. Yeah. But I don't know, Lucy, because I was going to tell you some of the reasons I stay on some of the channels is because sometimes somebody will say something that will connect a dot for me. Yeah, and then it'll start me researching in a different area. Yeah. So I can try to put some of the past history together to kind of figure out where we are today, why, and what have we not been told through history. Yeah. But the government, as I see it, I truly believe, at least for a period of time, it will probably be in place. And for a while, but hopefully it's scaled back to what it used to be, which was just for the basics.
Yeah. And the way I look at it in three areas. Okay. First of all, democracy will never be part of government. Okay, because democracy is controlled through corporation status, and it allows 51% to control 49%, which is basically unfair. Yeah. When you look at it from a standpoint of individual choices. So government, to be able to be corrected, this is what Spirit has given me. Yeah. Okay. Our country here, and again, countries abroad, just like where you're at and stuff like that, originally were a republic. Okay. Now, a republic had all the positive intentions. Okay. It had common law. Now, when we look at the government of today, common law exists, but only in word only. Okay. It doesn't exist in the courts. And so what we have is a commercial court system. And the commercial court system doesn't apply to the common law because it's of water versus of land. Okay, so what I see transpiring is we're going to go back to a republic form of government, okay, around the world, where there's both the constitutional protection of your country as well as some form of business at the services the government provides. Now, during this transition, because it's going to be not just one transition, okay, and I want the people to understand this. The second transition from a republic form of government to God's government, okay, self-determination, nature's law, okay, things of this nature, where again, we have the ability to self-govern versus somebody telling me how to live, versus the government telling me what I can do, what I can't say, things of this nature. So again, as we move forward, in my understanding from the spiritual downloads that I've been given and through my upbringing, we all have to return. That's why in our language, it means we all return. Yeah. We all return to spirit with self-governing, self-determination. There is no control factor. And so that's kind of what I see government coming. We're moving into different forms of government as we move into what Carla said earlier, the 1,000 years of peace.
Yes.
Okay. And within that 1,000 years of peace, as we move forward, technology is going to be to a point where you're going to live to be 1,000. So you better get used to it if you're in this frequency.
I agree. I totally agree. I love that. I feel we're all very joined up with that. I go to the end though. I skip that middle bit because I'm like, icky.
I'm going to grab this real quick. I hate to grab. I got to get real quick.
No worries.
I'll let Carla go ahead.
Okay. No worries. It's like, for me, Carla, you know what I'm like. I don't research anything, and I love the fact that you research as much as you do. There's been so many times where we've spoken and you've gone, like I researched this and I got this and I got that, and you share some absolutely incredible information. I'm not that person. I trust my guides. I trust what I get given is what I'm given, and I don't really like to cloud it. But I just see this nirvana, if you like. I see the end of it, and that's where I'm focusing. I'm bored of the ickiness. I just want to kind of like quantum leap this next bit, and I know we're going to have to step through it, and I honor the fact that we've got to go through it, but I'm living in the vibration of the nirvana, in my opinion.
And I agree with you. And there's something in me that is telling me that if we don't understand who we really are and where we came from, it's going to be hard for us to totally heal.
Damn straight.
But I believe, and I really do believe this, that when we move into the higher frequencies, that information will automatically be there for us. We will have it. We will know it. It isn't going to be something we're going to be looking through books for and all that stuff. I think we'll just know it. Yeah. But right now, they're basically, when they say everything you've been told is a lie, everything, I believe it's true. It's true.
I believe that too.
There is no truth to anything that we've been told. And so when you start going back in time and history, there's so much information, and we're talking thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years.
I agree.
We've been through many resets. I think humanity has been manipulated forever. And so that's the reason. There's something in me. I'm kind of a researcher type person.
No, absolutely. And a very important role. Right, we need people. Like, imagine if everybody was like me, ignorant and just like, no, I'm trusting my guide. This is my information. I'm trusting my guide, because it is the way that I work. Yes, it's very freeing, and yes, it's beautiful to see someone surrender, and yes, it's beautiful to watch someone channel. But at the end of the day, it's fucking ignorant, right? I don't check my facts. I go, this is what I'm told, so I'm going to share it with you. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Fuck it, like whatever.
Right.
But it's a really important role that we have people like yourself that will go digging and find the information, because then you can go, actually, yes, Lucy, you're right with that. Or actually, Lucy, I've read this, and this is, and likewise with all of us, we're all messengers for each other. It's bloody amazing. Like, I'm so excited for the future. Are you guys?
It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Yeah. It's a great time to be alive.
There's frustration some days, isn't there? When, life is just life, but most of the time I'm just so grateful right now. I'm loving seeing my emotional traumas. I'm loving hearing about other people's traumas, running back to exes. Oh, I'm just going to have a one night stand here. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, whoa, this is freaking cool. Like, look at everyone go. They're all like, it's just crazy right now. But what a time to be alive. Like, what
really
a time to be alive. It's just absolutely magical. And do you know the best bit about it? Seeing you two today. Honestly, you have made my day. It has been, oh, if I cut off. Hello? Hello, we're back. I don't know what happened.
We're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, they didn't want me to say to you both that my best bit of today has been seeing you guys.
Oh, well,
No,
thank
thank
you. Liz.
It has.
We feel the same way.
Oh, I love you
It's
guys
great
so
seeing
much.
you and catching up and
I love
getting
you
to-
guys so much, and just honor both of you. And I am going to get over there soon, you know. I'm going to
I know you
get
will.
over there. I'm definitely coming. I just don't know when, because at the moment it's like, okay, you've got to go to this European location, and I'm only home, I think, for like 10 days, and then I'm back out into Europe again. So I'm like, okay, but I know that I'm coming to you guys, and I'm coming to you guys soon.
Great. Well, we got a place here for you, so you don't have to worry about anything.
Can't wait. I'm going to land at that airport and just jump on you both. I'm going to be like, yay, I'm so excited to be here. And we can do some magical things in person.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, thank you for your time this afternoon. Honestly, I'm so grateful to you. I know it's your morning time as we're filming this, but I'm so grateful to you. You guys have been such an important part of this over the last couple of years with me. I'm glad you got to meet Charlie when he was over last week. And I'm just excited to be able to squeeze you both really, really soon.
Oh, yeah. We're looking
Same
forward
here,
to it
Lucy.
too.
Thank
We'll see you
We
soon.
love you.
I love you too, guys. Mwah. Everybody, BT and Carla, thank you so much for watching. Straighten up your shit. And I thought, I think I'm going to have to call this because I think that made me laugh the most.
Yeah, it might be good.
All right, guys. Mwah. Love you guys. See you in the next
We'll talk to
video.
you
Take care.
soon.
Bye-bye.